Welcome to the Life in Michigan podcast. Life in Michigan is more than an online magazine. We share the stories, experiences, and vibrant personalities that make the Great Lakes state truly unique. In this podcast, we bring you inspiring, heartwarming, and sometimes unexpected conversations with people who call Michigan home. From the rugged beauty of the Upper Peninsula to the bustling creativity of Kalamazoo, we'll cover the stories and define what it means to live, work, and play in Michigan. Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we are talking with our neighbor from Ypsilanti, Darren Cools, who is an incredible illustrator and now the author of a brand new debut novel called Light in the Canyon. We met Darren at a Creative Washtenaw event a few months ago, and we couldn't wait to sit down and hear how it all came together. Hello, Darren, and welcome to the Life in Michigan podcast.
Hello, Chuck and Brenda. So happy to be here.
Yeah, we're very excited to have you here. I believe that we met and you talked with Brenda at the Creative Washtenaw happy hour, one of those happy hours, and you mentioned you are an illustrator and writer and work and have a book, and so we were super excited to talk with you.
Yeah.
And we've met you and talked with you a little bit, but probably anybody listening doesn't know you. So can you do like a little intro of like who you are and what you do?
Yeah, well, it was great to meet you too, and I'm very excited to talk about this. So I am a writer and a designer, well, a human first from Washington State. I've got three kids. They're all teenagers, 17, 15, and 13. Two cats. We live in Ypsilanti. My life has meandered a lot, but that's me.
Awesome. Fantastic. So you mentioned you were originally from Washington. So and what when did you move to Michigan?
December of 2020.
Oh wow.
Dark times.
Yeah. Yeah, really. So what was it about Michigan? Why Michigan?
Yeah, we wanted to we were ready to leave Portland, Oregon at the time that we were living there. We had been there for 11 years. Um, there were a lot of reasons why we loved the place. My heart is still largely there in some ways, but there were a lot of reasons, mostly family and kid related, that we felt um, honestly, a place with Midwest values and Midwest community would really benefit. My wife grew up in the Cincinnati area, and then she came to school here in Ypsilanti when she was 17 and stayed for 5 years in the city. And so during those really formative times, she made some very deep connections both to place and to people. And those connections were as strong as ever, even though we lived on the West Coast for a long time. We met and married out there. So that's really what brought us.
Oh, awesome. Has it been so temperate and even I think on a longitudinal or latitudinal level, Oregon and Michigan are relatively the same, but completely different. So has it been a big adjustment for you and your family?
It has. So some interesting things about the differences and the similarities. I would say that from if you're talking about arts, the arts culture and or even like outdoorsiness, I'd say Oregon and Michigan share a lot actually. And I was very pleasantly surprised to feel kind of right at home socially and right at home as someone who loves being outdoors. I'm a mountain biker, so there were places to mountain bike
Oh yeah.
in Chelsea and stuff like that. Um, the the thing that still to this day I find sometimes troubling and strange, almost like I hardly even notice, but then when it strikes me, I'm like, whoa, is just the lack of physical drama, you might say, in Michigan. When you're out west, you have
Oh yeah.
waterfalls, huge waterfalls everywhere. You have cliffs that are hundreds of feet tall. Like everywhere you go, there's like you're driving on some windy road or about to fall over some guardrail, or there's huge trees, there's rushing rivers, there's big rocks. There's just so much drama.
Yeah.
Michigan is in my personal opinion, it's a very subtle place, like incredibly beautiful, but very subtle in its beauty. And for a while, I felt very much like a fish out of water. I would also say that in many ways I identified as a person with place very, very strongly. So Portland, Oregon, and then kind of central and eastern Washington, where I actually grew up, were places that I felt were like necessary to my very being and existence, you
Yeah.
might say. And so to leave was to sort of like wonder who I even was. I felt like I lost my sense of identity almost completely, but there was this beautiful growing over the course of a couple of years of refinding who I am without those things, and I think becoming more deeply integrated with who I actually am.
Well,
Wow.
I'm definitely envious of the West because of mountains.
Hmm.
The first time I saw the Rocky Mountains, and when I went to Seattle and went to see Mount Rainier and then in Mount
Mhm.
Hood, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. And
It's
so yeah,
astounding.
yeah, it is. And the fact that we don't have it here, because I think Michigan's perfect. If we just had a mountain, like a big mountain like that, it would
Right.
be like it would be heaven.
Yes,
But we
agreed.
don't. I mean, the closest thing we have is the UP, which is has some drama up there, but it's doesn't it just doesn't measure up to like Mount Hood or something like that.
You mean Mount Pleasant doesn't count?
No, not even Mount Arvon, which I think is the tallest place in Michigan, up in the
Right.
UP. But yeah.
So, have any Michigan themes like crept into your like writing or your art? Have you found like, because I know the book that you have right now, that we're going to talk about in a minute, it's set out in the Pacific,
Correct.
right? Yep.
Yes. Yeah, Michigan. So this is a funny thing that I never it never occurred to me until living here. As a child, we lived very far out in the country, and I was homeschooled. So by default, I was highly isolated, and I spent a lot of time reading books and not hanging out with people. And I was just, yeah, I was a serial reader, usually multiple books at a time, and I was always deeply engrossed in these stories. And so all these worlds began to grow in my imagination and represent like things that I loved. What's interesting is so many of those books took place in the Midwest.
Oh,
So brick buildings and the particular kind of fall we get out here with the changing of the leaves, and a lot of the kind of Midwest sensibilities and community. Those were like the things that I was immersed in terms of storytelling. And so when I came out here, it was like there was a whole side of me that just woke up. It was like, oh, this is what it's all about. I see these things now. So Michigan definitely has woven its way into my stories, very much because I'm reconnecting with things that I loved as a kid. I loved middle grade and YA books, of course, and when I was young, and I was always reading books about nerdy kids and libraries and mystery stories and street lights in the dark and like all that stuff. And so it just works for me. So yeah.
So uh, we met obviously at the Creative Washtenaw event, the happy hour. How have you found the local art scene in Washtenaw County?
Th- So when I moved here, as I mentioned before, I felt like I kind of really lost identity a bit. And I was in a job, I was still working remotely for a company in Portland. And it was a good job in terms of stability and all that, but there were things about it that were a little rough. I won't go so far as to say it was a toxic work environment, but it wasn't great. And I was struggling a bit. And so I really, being fully remote, still being COVID when we got here,
Hmm.
being in a whole new place and kind of feeling like I had just stumbled completely outside of all recognizable identity, I didn't really get involved in community for a while. So in terms of creative community, it took me quite a while to begin to slowly find, make inroads. But I did connect with almost by accident. I connected with the people who run Ipsy Writes, which is a local writing organization here in Ypsilanti. And I met a filmmaker named Liz Barney, who became a good friend. And I have slowly expanded, largely through Liz's network because she's so well connected.
Yeah,
Um,
Liz Barney, is that the same Liz Barney that we know, Chuck?
it
I'm
is.
sure.
The
And
very same Liz Barney.
Yeah, she's like everywhere.
everywhere. She knows everyone, and it's wonderful. And
Yeah.
I think I saw your names on the invite list for the Open Spoon.
Yep.
Yes.
And we will be at the next one too. So I'll see you again there.
Oh, well, this one we can't make because we'll be, that's coming up in May. We'll be on the west side of the state. But we
Okay.
were at the last one. So, but we tried to make it when we're around.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was in New York City for the last one, but so I couldn't make it then. But yeah, we'll catch up at some
Oh,
point.
for sure.
Yeah. So I'm sorry for interrupting you. You're in a
No.
writing group. You connected with Liz with because she knows everybody. And
Yeah.
uh Creative Washtenaw. And we have found Creative Washtenaw pretty helpful actually.
Yes. It Creative Washington is basically brand new for me. I mean, within the last few months. And it is the most connected and vibrant creative space that I have found yet. And so I'm just thrilled because I've been here for over 5 years now. And it's like all of a sudden my world is breaking open in terms of creative connections. So I'm absolutely thrilled. I've met so many interesting people and done, yeah, so many cool things.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's also another organization. What is that? Creative
Creative Mornings.
Mornings.
That's how we met
Yes.
Liz, actually.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
because she used to run that for a little
Yep.
while, and I still have yet to make it to one. Those Friday mornings tie me up with meetings. It's
Yeah,
rough. It's rough.
it
So,
is.
but
It is.
eventually I'll make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll miss the one this week. But yeah, we try to make them. They're usually pretty good. They usually have a nice speaker and it's usually quite lovely.
Mm.
Um, so we're here because when you were at the Creative Washtenaw that I met you, I stalked you because you were showing your book. I'm like, a writer, I gotta go talk to him. I was so excited. Is because of your novel that's come out, that is coming out, Light in the Canyon. Can
Yes.
you tell us about it? It's coming out this summer. What was the spark? Like tell us about it.
I'm so thrilled to talk about this book, obviously. And it would be easy for me to spiral into a very lengthy story, so I'll try to keep myself reined in just a little bit. But my journey to being a writer starts when I was 9 years old, when my family watched I believe it's an old Disney movie, Iron Will, about the Iditarod sled dog race.
Yeah.
I don't remember much about the movie. I don't even know if it's any good. But that movie, for whatever reason, at 9 years old, triggered something in me, and I wanted to become a writer. And I wrote my first short story at 9. Still have the notebook, and
Awesome.
I've been writing ever since. And I have always dreamed of being a published author. In fact, when I was like 13 or 14 years old, it's embarrassing to think of it in a way, but it's also a hilarious story, so I'll tell it. But I used to like imagine myself walking around the town I lived in and having people say, "Oh, that's that guy that wrote that book," whatever book I was going to write. That's the author. So it's been important to me for a long time. But again, I was homeschooled, and as can happen sometimes with homeschooling, it didn't go super well or wasn't super thorough, and so I ended up in college feeling confused, getting poor grades, and realizing I really needed to get a job. And being an author just wasn't looking like it was in the cards. So between studying graphic design so that I could get a job that felt viable and more immediately accessible to me, and then getting married and having kids and going on adventures and living a bunch of life. I kept writing, but I think it probably I don't know that it ever felt like it was really plausible
Mm.
until I was in my 30s. And then I started to get this sense that I can't shake this dream. Like no matter what else I do, I can't shake this. So I need to take it this seriously. And so I took a creative writing class. And actually, my teacher was Victoria Jameson, who's a relatively famous graphic novelist for middle grade and YA. And she had a very powerful impact on me and encouraged me strongly and said that I had something that it needed development, but there was a spark there. So that got set me on the track. And in, gosh, I can't remember what year it was now, but it would have been in the 20 teens at some point, early 20 teens probably. I was flipping through an old notebook and I came across a um, what amounted to a diary entry from when I was 15 years old. And in this diary entry, I had written about a dream that I had had when I was 15. I had just woken up and I dreamed I woke up and I was a girl, not a boy, but everything else about me was exactly the same. And I completely flipped out. And all I could think of was like, what is going to happen when people see me? And when I was flipping through this notebook and I came across this story, I was like, there's something going on with this story that I want to talk about. And I began to write. And so that was the spark.
Wow.
And the story became something utterly and completely different than all of that, of course. Although there are bits and pieces in there that I'll leave to for people to discover when they read the book. But
I see.
yeah, I ended up crafting the plot on while I was doing a 100-mile bike ride from Seattle around Puget Sound to Bremerton. And then I wrote it down, and I still was struggling to make the words work until I moved here. And I lost my identity. Everything was crazy. I was kind of depressed, didn't know what to do. And I started writing, and finally it started to click.
Ah,
And
wow.
the book grew from there.
Wow. That's
Wow.
awesome.
Wow, that is so, I mean, I get chills just thinking about that. I mean, that's what writing is supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to find your way with it,
Yes.
right? It's, like when I sit down to write, it's really like, I'm gonna sort something out, and that's like, I don't know it at the time, but I end up sorting something out when I sit down to write like a short essay or something like that. I'm like, oh, that was the thing. So
Right.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think what I find kind of beautiful is that I always wanted writing, but I wasn't ready for it. But when I was ready for it, it found me. And since then, I've been writing a lot more. I have two short pieces going that are going to be in the Ipsy Writes anthology coming up soon in May. They're going to release it. And I'm working on other novels, which we'll talk about later here. I have several short stories I'm shopping around, hoping to get them into some literary journals. So the moment has arrived, and I am very grateful.
Wow. So your novel that's coming out, it's called Light in the Canyon,
Yep,
and it's a young adult, a
yep,
YA, yes.
that's right. Young
And
adult science fiction, coming of age, kind of literary, but a mix. Probably the easiest comparison would be something somewhat similar to A Wrinkle in Time, but also nothing at all like A Wrinkle in Time.
I love that. Well, would you like to read a little bit from Light in the Canyon for for our listeners and for Chuck and I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to. Um, I did a little thinking about this recently because I'm sure I will be doing readings publicly at some point because this book will be out. And I'm going to read from the end of chapter 7. And I won't give you any context. I'll just read. I think it'll make enough sense, but we're dropping into the middle of something here.
Okay.
Haley. She snapped, fully awake. The window near her head was open a few inches. Air moved freely between the yard and her bedroom, seeping slowly out, then spilling back again over the sill like the breath of a huge slumbering creature. It was an unusually warm autumn. The night smelled of fallen leaves and secrets. Across the hall, her father moved, alone, in the bed made for two, then was still. The clock in the living room ticked steadily away on the other side of her bedroom wall. Haley sat up. She fumbled for her glasses on the nightstand, then pushed back her quilt and swung her feet over the side of the bed. She moved through the house, barely a whisper on the hardwood floor. The back door made no sound as she slipped outside into the shadows. The grass was damp and cold under her bare toes. She shivered. Here, at the far edge of the city, nights were darker than in most neighborhoods. Dad said the hills behind them blocked out most of the light from downtown. Overhead, the sky was thick with stars. The rhythmic thrum of a large boat engine floated up the river. A tug or container ship from the coast, probably, heading to port. Haley. Tilting her head, tilting her face toward the sky, she listened. Fierce points of white glittered in a depthless tapestry of black. Backyard shadows deepened. The cosmos tugged, and she pitched into something like dreams once more, despite her wide open eyes and her toes still curling in the chilly grass. And then she was dissolving, alone inside her spacesuit, flying apart behind her gold visor as she spun slowly among the terrible stars. Haley. She couldn't be certain there had been a sound at all, but there was a fresh ache in her chest. A familiar, horrible, wonderful ache. Mom? Her pulse quickened. Is that you? There was no reply. Only silent, infinite space. She was thousands of little pieces inside her spacesuit. I'm not like Sally. I can't stitch myself together again, Mom. I can't. The spacesuit cradled what was left of her, holding all her shattered parts. Not safe exactly, but still together. I need you. A car door slammed nearby, and she was abruptly back in her own backyard. She blinked and wrapped her arms around herself, teeth chattering. Her toes were ice. A long, throaty blast from a boat horn sounded from the river. She glanced up just in time to see a meteorite streak across the night sky as it disintegrated in Earth's atmosphere in a blaze of yellow white. A falling star. Make a wish, Haley, she whispered into the darkness. She wished. Then she went in through the back door and back to bed.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It is. And I could actually picture that in my mind as you were
I
reading.
know. I
It was-
could too.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yep. Oh,
I could feel the grass on my toes.
Yep. That scene
Awesome.
unraveled right in my head as you were speaking. So yeah, fantastic. So, you mentioned that you are a graphic designer, an illustrator. Do you, when you're coming up with stories, do you actually see the scenes and then write them, or how does that work for you?
I would say that I see things first for sure. I've always been a very visual person with a tremendously overactive imagination, sometimes to a serious fault, I think. But yeah, like when I'm writing a scene like that, like I am Haley standing in the grass looking up at the stars for the moments that I'm writing about her, and I see the stars and I feel the grass before I put the words down for sure. A couple of years ago, I illustrated some picture books for a good friend of mine, Julie Darling, and as I only had the text to work from that she wrote, and of course there's like one or two lines per page because it's a picture book, and you have all this space to fill to make these words come to life. Um, and I did thumbnail drawings and sketches, and just imagined things around these words, and the way I described the experience to her later was as I was reading your words, I felt like I was kind of on one of those roller coasters that is like winding and shooting and up and down and all around. I'm like spinning the scene around, looking at it from all the angles, dropping low, going up high, um, pausing it and flipping it and seeing if it looks good the other way. So, yeah, 100%. I'm in the middle of it all.
Oh, yeah. Because you can kind of tell that because, when you're reading that passage, there's the visual component of the scene, there's the color, there's the way things look, but then there's the texture, and the mental process. Like, so there's the thought process going on, the sensations that she's experiencing physically and mentally, which I think is very cool. But I like the definition of, the textural aspects as well as the color, That
Yeah.
to me is, I love when writers get into that without being over, it's not too much. There are some books I've written, where it's too much detail. I don't need all that. I
Right.
really need to go into the story. But that was just a very nice level. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the book. It should be good.
Awesome. I'm excited. Yeah.
So you have another, we kind of alluded to it earlier on, about the solar punk. I came across that somewhere. I was looking through. What you're doing a series, and a solar punk series involving rebels on bicycles?
That's right. This is certainly my most audacious endeavor yet when it comes to creativity. Normally, I veer toward, I love ghost stories, and if I like sci-fi, I like it kind of light. Like I don't really want to go to space, despite the words about Haley in space.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't go into space, and I like to keep things a little bit somewhat real. This new book that I'm working on. It's actually a 3 book series, as you said, and it is very ambitious. I'm hoping I have what it takes to actually pull it off. But it takes place in Ypsilanti. I've renamed it the first name that Ypsilanti was known by
Oh, the
way back
Grove.
when Woodruff's Grove. Yep.
Yeah.
So some people might figure that out. It'll be a fun Easter egg. Um, but solarpunk is very intriguing to me. As a teen and a young person, I was very interested in cyberpunk, but at some point the grittiness can get a little tiring, just
Hmm.
sometimes. Everything is so dark and so
Yeah.
violent and hopeless, really.
Yeah.
It's very nihilistic, and solar punk pulls a lot of those same threads, so to speak, but there's this layer of hope about it that I just absolutely love. It's a very loose genre. Like it's hard to find official definitions. It's hard to find. There's certainly not a category in the bookstore that is called solar punk, but you'll find references to it if you look for it. And I think hope is what draws me there. Like I want to tell a story that's kind of gritty and has those cyberpunk elements, but is really fundamentally built on hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I love cyberpunk as well. Like Neuromancer is, you know, fantastic.
Amazing.
Snow Crash and stuff like that. But um, yeah, it is dark.
Right.
And yeah, there is no future.
Yeah, not really. Um, and I like things that don't resolve. So, this story, there's a lot of hope. But even at the end of the 3rd book, when I intend to finish the series and not revisit it, if I do this all as I intend, like I'm still going to leave people with questions, but
Yeah.
at least there will be some hope.
Nice.
So why is this important right now? I mean, why is this story important right now in your life, but also in 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 our world right now?
I love that question. I have really ready answers for you. There's 2 reasons. First one, the book began because I'm interested in talking about climate change in a way that is impactful. And so it kind of grew out of this initial desire to talk about climate change. And I think that that is a very prescient topic right now,
Hmm.
and something that people can really get behind and think and should be thinking about. I think we all think that way. So, but I'm gonna leverage that. The other thing that's very important to me is I I would say I'm in an ongoing kind of existential spiritual exploration mode in my life and have been for a while. And the other major theme of this book is existential. Sort of like what is the space between life and death? What does that transition look like? What does that mean? And what does it mean for us? What does it mean to be absolutely right or absolutely wrong? To fight evil versus try to make connections, even when in the face of what appears to be absolute evil. And so I try to tackle this project's very ambitious, and I try to tackle a lot of these questions. So there's this climate change backdrop with these people sort of in on the threshold between life and death in this weird space, and big things are happening. And it's going to stretch the reader a bit because it definitely veers into not quite paranormal, not quite sci-fi. I don't know what it is, honestly, but it's very spiritual.
Nice. I'm curious. Well, and I'm very intrigued because I've been very much getting into like the neuroscience and just talking about and thinking about like what it means to be a conscious being, and
Yes.
what is consciousness, and is it something that our brain generates, or is it just part of the life force that we all tap into? And so I'm curious, does does that enter into any of the book, or is that?
Yes, it does, as a matter of fact. And I'll offer you one more teaser, and then I won't give too much
All
away.
right.
But part of this book grew out of, so my wife and I love cemeteries. We're weirdos like that. And so our one of our favorite cemeteries in the entire world is the one right here in Ypsi, Highland Cemetery.
Oh
Yeah.
So
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So we'll often take a backpack and a blanket and just go find a hillside, spread out, and hang out, and that'll be our date night. Um, in doing this, we discovered an old headstone with the name Wavy Green on it.
Oh,
And I mean, what kind of name is Wavy Green, right?
Yeah.
And
I
this
think it's a
person,
cool name.
very cool name. And this person died at 27 years old in 1927, I believe. At 27 or 25. I should know this by heart, but regardless,
Yeah.
they were very young. They're in their 20s. And they're the only person with the name Green in the whole cemetery. So I've been on a hunt to find an answer for a very, very long time, and I have not found an answer until the last meeting of Creative Washtenaw.
Saw
I
who you
was
were talking to.
Yes, and he hunted down who this person was and found them for me, which is amazing. It's not too bad, but it's almost like, oh, dang it, because the mystery is now dispelled. But but part of my book, and this is my teaser, is Wavy Green makes an appearance in my book, and it's strictly speaking in that space of like, what does it mean to be conscious and alive? You know, this person has a headstone. What, like, how are they a character now? They're not a ghost. So what are we doing here? So
Yeah.
yes, I
Right.
do go into that same space you're talking about.
Awesome. Cool.
Barry LaRue. I feel like I should out him, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a wonderful conversation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's a great person and so knowledgeable and so invested in the history of that cemetery in Ypsilanti and, various aspects of Michigan as well. But yeah, just
Yeah,
super cool.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, that was a fun. Everybody should listen to this podcast just to talk about solar punk. That was super fun.
Yes, and I mean, hopefully I mean, if all goes well, I'll finish the first draft of the first book this year, and maybe it'll be out in a year or two after that, and then, there's two more books to go, but hey,
Yeah.
might not have too long of a wait.
Awesome.
Um, so I read on one of the articles I found, I was digging up stuff about you, sort of like what Barry LaRue was looking for, like wavy green. And you write at 6 a.m. before your kids wake up. Um,
At least for this book, the one that's being published, I did, yes.
Nice.
yeah. Can you, sometimes first thing in the morning, I'm not my most creative self. I need a little bit of caffeine. Like, how did that work for you? Were you able to like, make get create how did it feel artificial to be creative at 6 a.m.?
Man, that is a good question. Did it feel artificial? No, but it did feel very surreal. Um, and I think that's one of the reasons it worked so well. Um, I have spent most of my adult life working a full-time job and doing freelance work in the evenings to try to cover expenses for family and take care of the kids and all that. And I think as we talked about earlier in this podcast, the that time of my life when I started to take writing seriously again and like, I can't let this go. I was looking at my days and the things that were on my plate, and I realized there was no space to put this big need of mine. There was no time to carve out that existed unless I was going to cut back on sleep. And the morning was the only time that really made sense because I don't want to stay up late after everybody goes to bed
Mm.
tired, and then it's worse when you get up in the morning. But somehow, if I can get out of bed and drink some coffee, yes, always coffee, um, at 5, 6 a.m., I can sort of like move into this space where I'm not really detached from my body, but it feels a little bit weird. It's like I'm not really there. And somehow it's just this mysterious place that I've learned to love where I can just drop into a story and just lose myself and think that it's been 10 minutes when it's been an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't been able to sustain that very well recently. I think I'm just getting tired. But while
Yeah.
I wrote this book and while the passion of this book was at its strongest, I was able to pull it off for a little over a year to do that.
Wow.
Very cool.
Chuck gets up early and he goes off and he does stuff. He works.
Yeah, I pretty much start up. I mean, I get some coffee going and then I'm digging into something, either, you know, doing some photo processing or working on the next Sunday sip or putting together
Yeah.
something for a gig. But yeah, I like that time in the morning. It just feels
I've grown to
right.
love it.
Yeah.
I've grown to love it. I was always a night owl, and if I romantically wish to be a night owl still, but the reality is I do so much better if I'm in bed by 9:30 or 10, sleep
Mhm.
really soundly, and then get up really early, even if I'm only getting 6 or 7 hours sleep. It I just find that everything works better for me. So I'm embracing it.
So, you lead a creative design team, but you're also studying to be a social worker. I ran across that little like factoid about you.
Yeah.
Um, has studying social work changed how you develop a character?
Yeah, it is changing. So you're correct that I ran various design teams for almost 9 years. But most recently, just in the last few months, I have transitioned to being a user experience writer. And
Oh,
I'm on a contract, so crossing my fingers that I can extend the contract or have it converted to permanent. But I'm no longer leading a team, which is kind of a nice break. But yes, as far as social work goes, so I am just finishing up my first year. So I'm pretty early on. And I'm part time, of course, because I'm working full time and raising teenagers. And so in my first year, yes. But I find what's happening to me right now is that my understanding of the complexities of human behavior is expanding very rapidly right now. I think when I was younger, it's a little, probably all of us are like this to a point. It's a little easier to think more black and white, think, that person just needs to do X or Y, and or just stop doing that one thing. But now I'm starting to see just the nuances and the complexities, and it actually helped me write about Haley and Jamie in my novel, and it's in the one that's being published now. When I was doing final revisions, just basically I'm going to say something which is maybe a little bold, but I think in YA there's a tendency to right now in young adult literature there's a tendency for authors to create characters that make bad decisions, um, to give the characters dimension, but to miss out a little bit on the complexities of the why the person makes a bad decision. And a lot of times I find myself reading a YA novel and feeling like there's not enough cohesiveness here. This person did these terrible things and now they're doing wonderful things, but like I don't see the cohesiveness and I don't see the process of healing and forgiveness, even if it's very subtle or fragmented, that can lead the person from these choices to these choices. And I think social work is really helping me to deepen that, which is something I want to bring into all of my writing. I want to write stories that are just fun and silly with like, ghosts and all sorts of crazy stuff that shouldn't be able to happen in real life. But I want everything to be underpinned by really authentic, relatable human characters where they just feel it. That's what my hope is.
Yeah, I like characters that do feel relatable, and it's true that there are certain books where you get to the point where you're like, what's the driver for this person? They're doing things, they're they've made some kind of startling. There's been an inciting incident that's changed their character, but you don't really understand like why they were in that space before and what's led them to that other space. I think that's a really great part of novels that I love is when you get into those, and it doesn't have to be super heavy or,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, involved, but it's a good story and you got a character that you can relate to and or like. That's another thing. I love it when I like the characters because sometimes if you can't, it may be a great story, but if I can't get into that character, I don't know. I might fall
That
off a
happens a
cliff.
lot these days. The anti-hero. It's a thing right now.
Yeah. So yeah, sometimes I can't get into it.
You know, this is gonna it is kind of like what is it? It's gonna be it's gonna feel like left field, but it's really not. So Chuck and I are taking an improv class.
Hmm.
Oh, and we're in our like what third class, third 6 week thing of
Yep.
it.
Yep.
And it's been really interesting because our current instructor is like, I want to know why, like when
Mm.
we do a skit and we decide we're gonna be like, the crotchety old lady at the laundromat, like what was driving her? She's always like, what is it? I want to know more about X. I want to know more about Y. And I'm like, I'm in an improv class. I'm just doing something fun and silly, but it is so true. Like you
Mm.
think about that, like that why. I know I do a lot more now when I'm sitting down to do writing. Like, well, why? What is the underpin underneath that? And it's weird. It came for me like through an improv class. Like it's bizarre.
I love that. And I've never done improv exactly, but I do play Dungeons and Dragons, which is very similar
Oh
to
yeah.
improv.
Yeah.
And I love it so much. And I do because myself included and everyone I'm playing with, like who we really are and what our core motivations are, just comes out in the gameplay, no matter what people try to be. I mean, somebody might
Yeah.
be, you know, their characters might be different races, different classes, everything, but they always end up like showing truths about themselves in the process. And I discover truths about myself, and it's such a compelling experience.
Mhm.
For
I
sure.
have not had, I'm going to have to talk to our improv group and see if anybody does Dungeons and Dragons so we can have a conversation about that. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, so
Yeah.
It's been years. I played when I was in high school, but I haven't played since.
I've been lucky to work with some dungeon masters that are very, very good at balancing some goofiness with some just mind-numbing battle with a lot of like character development. And so finding that right ebb and flow is important. You can easily get into a game that like gets lopsided and then it gets a little boring, but
Yeah.
a good dungeon master can pull you into this world that is just, it's an absolute trip.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking, when you were talking about that, where development and a story, it was, well, now it's been about 20 years, but I played another game, a role playing game called Masquerade, which is about vampires. And you had to be a vampire character, but you were, you know, doing things together. And there were some battles, but you were also like just becoming that character. Who is this person? Who are you? And it did come through. Like you could see elements of the people that they were. I mean, it's just
Right.
I don't know if that says that we're bad actors, because apparently a good actor should be able to be somebody completely not themselves. But I still think that some actors come out, they're still there. There's an element of them inside there.
Totally. Even method actors, you're kind of like, I think I still see you.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I have to ring my bell. It's like we're about 10, 15 minutes before wrapping up our talk here. And so is there anything, I've got a few more questions, but is there anything that we've not talked about that you were hoping we would ask? Or is there any shout outs or any?
Let's see here. I will definitely shout out Ipsy Rights. The people at Ipsy Rights were so just warm and encouraging about in the creation of my book, and they connected me with another local YA author, Patrick Flores Scott, who ended up writing a blurb for my book. So big thank you to Ipsy Rights and Patrick and all of the people connected there. And a big thank you to the incredibly warm welcome that I received at Creative Washtenaw as well, and the reason we're here now. So those are the shout outs for sure.
All
Excellent.
right. All right. So Chuck, you want to start with our rapid fire questions?
Yeah, yeah. So apparently, you used to be working on car repairs,
That's right.
and and
I found his Instagram.
yeah.
Mm.
So if you had to pick one classic car for a road trip across Michigan, what would it be?
I would have to get my hands on a somewhat rare car these days that I owned for a while in my 20s that I wish I still had. A 1968 Volvo 142. Most people don't even know what they look like, but I loved that car. And if I could get my hands on one, I would drive that. I'd put a roof rack on it, put my mountain bike on it, and I'd drive to Copper Harbor
Awesome.
to ride the trails.
Yeah,
Yep.
Oh,
excellent.
wow.
I
Have
love
you?
long road trips.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a great drive. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
And
it's
I
a
love driving old cars. I love flipping open the little wing window. I love the sound of the road. I love the smells of the old car. I love shifting the manual transmission. I just
yeah,
like all of it.
yeah, yeah. We, sort of a diversion, but we rented a vintage VW van. Like
Yes.
when we were retired, it was a '87 van again. I gotta say, it's a long story, but I forgot what it was like to do not to have power steering. It was like
Hmm.
Or
Totally.
air conditioning.
or air
Yep.
conditioning. Like, oh my gosh, and crank windows, right? It's
Oh
like, oh my,
yeah. It's a whole thing.
it is. uh, the other question we got here is you live in a historic home, so and you're actually working on doing fixing and restorations in there. So what's been the most rewarding part of that project?
That is yeah. I know we're close to time, so I'll keep this brief, but we lived next door to this home and it had been empty for 30 years and we just fell in love with it.
Wow.
And we gently, over the course of about 4 years, talked the owner into selling it to us. No one lived in it. And we've been fixing it up and it's just, I don't know what it is about this experience with this particular home, but my wife and I are just, it's been such a meaningful thing for us. And we're not normally historic home fixer-upper people, but this experience has been special. And the thing that's been most rewarding of all is that the man who built it, he and his wife were the only people that ever lived in it. And they built it in the 30s, and when they were in their 30s, and then they died. I don't know if they died literally in the house, but they died still living in the house in the 1990s.
Wow.
And all of their stuff was still in the house when we bought it, like everything, including their laundry and their dishes and all that.
Oh,
So
wow.
Wow.
we have gone through very lovingly and gotten rid of a lot of things, but it kept many, many, many things. And we've gotten to know Harold and Aileen, the people that built the house, so well that it's almost as if they're the grandparents that we never had, because our grandparents were all gone long ago. So that's been a very
Wow.
beautiful experience.
Yeah, that's super cool. I love that.
Are you in it yet? Are you living in the home now?
Yes, I'm sitting in it right now. Yep, we're living in it.
Awesome.
Do
That
you
is so
feel them
cool.
in there with you?
To a point, but not supernaturally really, but there's little like touches of their character and who they are everywhere. And we feel for lack of a better way to put it, we feel their embrace, you might say, in
Okay.
this house.
Excellent.
That is so cool. Oh, your
So
book
light,
is going to
yeah,
launch
yeah.
soon.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
What are you looking forward? I mean, how are you going to celebrate when it actually launches?
Yes, so here's my self-promotion piece. So there are pre-order links now, which I think you may share at the end.
I will.
And then it officially comes out on June 23rd, and on June 25th, I am going to have an open celebration at the Corner Brewery. It's a Thursday, 6:30 to 9 p.m. And I'll have lots of books for sale. I'll be signing, I'll read a little bit, talk a little bit about what the book meant to me to create it. Everyone is welcome. There's no cost. Just please come and celebrate with me. And then on Saturday afterward, I'm going to bookend the occasion by getting a book specific tattoo from my favorite tattooist in town, Janet Nelson, to commemorate the fact that I am living out my lifelong dream of having a published book.
Oh,
That is
awesome.
so cool.
Love that.
Where is Janet's shop?
I
Where does she?
believe she still works at Bright Idea, but I'll have to check.
I'll look it up. I'll make sure and
Yeah,
get a link
but
in the
Janet Nelson, she
notes.
is she is incredible, incredible person and incredible tattooist.
Cool.
Right.
Love good tattoo artists.
Hmm.
And I think you sent me already your pre-sale link, which I'll put in the show notes. And then we have like one more question.
Great. Hit
This
me.
is Chuck's question.
All right. So basically, it's the question we ask everyone, and that is, what's your perfect Michigan day? So where would you go? What would you do? And what kind of beverage would you finish it off with?
Yes, excellent question. Well, my wife is my best friend in the entire world, so it would be with her. And we'd get up and we'd hit the gym in the morning, would drive to Lake Michigan and would swim and would read on the beach, would build a fire at sunset, and I'd bring some M43. That's my favorite beer, Old Nation's M43.
All right.
Yay.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Gotta love Old Nation. They make
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
Old Nation is good.
the
Have you
whole
stopped at
lineup
their
of beers is
brewery?
great. Yeah.
I have, yes.
Oh yeah, it's cool, and it's always packed. At least every time we tried to go there, it's like, man, oh man, do
Oh,
these
Yeah.
people not
it's
have
delicious.
jobs?
No, they have M43.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I just got to say, Darren, thank you so much for being on Life in Michigan. It's been a joy to talk with you. Can't wait to check out Light in the Canyon. Looking forward to the solar punks. That sounds super cool. But yeah, and hopefully we'll see you soon and at one of the Creative Washington events or whatever.
Or your event at Corner.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Chuck and Brenda both. It's been a pleasure to speak with you. This has been super fun, and we'll definitely be crossing paths.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast service to catch every episode of Life in Michigan. Help us spread the word by rating the show, sharing it with your friends, your neighbors, your family, your mail carrier. Share it with everybody, and leave a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Stay connected by following us on our website and social media. This is a Life in Michigan production. Until next time, take care and have a fantabulous day in Michigan.